What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to tell you the one major thing that you need to know before you start investing in forex or trading stocks. And if you watch to the end, I'll be giving you my method so you can know exactly how and when you should enter the markets. But first, let me give some context. Okay, so in the first lockdown, obviously for myself and for a lot of people, the shit hit the fan big time. I realised that I couldn't rely on my 9 to 5 solely. You know, I had been into trading for some time, learning bits and pieces by my own, on my own. Never really got very far. So there's this group of guys, Samuel and Co. traders. So you might have seen them on YouTube, and they've got a pretty big channel, huge trading company. They've got their own crypto coins and stuff like that. Basically, I applied for a position at their prop trading firm so I could learn. That was just the goal of it. And after 2 interviews and a trial period, I passed. I ended up getting the job, and they gave me 50k to trade with. So it was amazing. You know, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about the markets as well as the strategies that they teach. But obviously with COVID happening, the markets were behaving in a completely random way, and a way that I'd not seen before. And what I found was, at least for me personally, that the strategies that they were teaching weren't really working for me. And that's not to say that they don't work, because I know for a fact that they do for some people, but for me, they weren't. So that's basically a brief sum up of how I got into trading and my experience. Now, I had some great days where I've made £1,500, and I've had days where I've lost that in fucking 2 hours. Everybody sees trading as like this big gold mine, and I did at first as well. But I'm far more interested in the long term. Okay, everybody wants everything now. It's just the economy that we live in. People don't want to wait for things. If you want food, you don't want to cook, you just get it brought to your house. If you want to meet girls but you don't know how to talk to them, or you can't be fucked to socialise, you just go onto Tinder. And it's the same with learning stuff online, and learning new businesses. There's thousands of people selling absolute fucking garbage online, multi-level marketing and all that sort of stuff. I've been sucked into that before, so that's another reason that I started to pursue trading and try to learn a little bit more. It's more on my terms, stuff that I was going to be able to learn, and I knew that in time it was going to pay off big time. And you can too. If you put any work into anything, you can reap the rewards. The first thing I'm going to tell you that you need to know, that not many people will just tell you straight outright, and that is that the markets are manipulated 100%. At least it seems that way to you and me. But they're not looking for your little £100 orders or your little £1,000 orders. They're chasing the big fish. They're going after other big banks and other hedge funds, okay? So basically, let's say Barclays put in a buy order for GBP USD. So that's the pound against the dollar, okay? So they put in an order for GBP USD. Naturally, the price goes up, okay? Then they sell a smaller portion of that order, so it drops slightly. They buy again, it goes up. They sell again, it goes down slightly. So they're basically creating these little waves, okay? I'll add some screenshots into the frame so it'll make a little bit more sense. So basically they are controlling these waves of the market. They're not trying to take our money per se. They're just buying and selling as and when they wish. Okay, but the fact of the matter is that as people trade it, the smaller guys, you and I, the little fish, we end up losing money. One of the reasons for that, they say that they know where your stop losses are. Now, a stop loss is something you will put in place to stop you losing more than a certain amount of money. So let's say you put a stop loss of £100 on to GBP USD, and you click buy, okay? Once it goes down and hits a certain price, it will take your stop loss. You've lost that trade, you're out, okay, the end. Okay, so you can see on any market that you look at, and stock as well, actually, for that matter. When you've seen the price going like this, it's like a set of stairs almost. So what happens is, and this is the way that people are trained to trade, is you put your stop loss under a near peak or near one of the little lower lows, as they call them. The banks know this because that's how you're trained to trade the markets. So they know that when they drop a price, they can collect money. So the banks, knowing this and knowing how you were trained to trade, they can just sell a certain amount of GBP USD. The price will drop down and fall through all of these little peaks, take out a bunch of stop losses, and they've made their money. In stocks, this happens too. But because it's a company and there's not trillions and trillions of liquidity in the markets, they can't just aggressively swipe the price around, you know? You can apply the same principles to stocks that you can in forex, okay? People still trade in that same way, where they put their stop losses under each of these little peaks that you'll see. So all you need to do is, you need to wait for price to pull back down and take out all of these areas where the stop losses are, and that will be where you should buy, okay? Again, this is not a get rich quick scheme. I do have an intraday strategy that I use, but this is for the long term, which you should always be thinking for. So it says on the thumbnail to this video, should you invest? Yes, you absolutely should invest. Like, why wouldn't you? I've heard Hamza speaking about this in a video before, and it's true that if you wanted to make a living straight off the bat from stocks, you put a fucking 100 grand in. You know, the S&P 500 makes 11.88% a year, I think it is. So if you put 100 grand in, or a million, you know, you're talking big money at the end of the year, and you can literally live off of that. If you're adding small increments of money all the time, it can really grow. Okay, I'm going to add some screenshots in here, but this was just a scenario. I think it was investing £200 a month or £400 a month over 30 years, with the S&P 500 making 11.88% every year. If you did that for 30 years, you will have over £1 million. So you can be a millionaire. It's not all about right now. Everybody's looking like, oh, how can I make $1 million? How can I make $1 million? You know, in a sense, forget about right now. It's good to make money in lots of different ways. You want to make it weekly, you want to make it hourly, you want to make it monthly, you want some things to pay off long and some things to pay off quick. Okay, you need to build an array of money coming in, multiple streams. So you could literally get a fucking job at McDonald's and live with your mum and dad for 30 years. Obviously, not many people will want to do that. But I'm just saying, just to give you an example, you can literally have the shittest job in the world. I've worked at McDonald's, by the way. There's no fucking shame in starting there if that's your first job. But you can literally have a low income job. If you have the mindset to invest, you can still retire a millionaire. You know, you could still buy £1 million house in 30 years or whatever. You know, you can move to a country somewhere in Malaysia or Thailand and just fucking retire. They're like 45, 50 years old. You know, that's a good life. You can have a good life out there if you're prepared to sacrifice that 30 years of income. Obviously, the more you earn, the more you should be investing. Now, you can invest in lots of different things. You can invest in index funds, which is basically like the S&P 500. It's a collection of the top 500 companies in the stock market. And the good thing about that is that they're only the top 500 performing stocks. So say the bottom 50, if they start going to shit and the businesses are not performing and not as profitable as they were the year before, they'll put new businesses in. So it's always the top 500 businesses, okay? And that will grow on average 11.88% every single year. You know, you've got ETFs as well, exchange traded funds, which I might do a video on in the future. Slightly different to index funds, but they basically track assets or a class. And then you've got obviously individual companies. Now I'm going to put some more screenshots up here. this is what I'm really looking at the moment, is Tesla. Tesla has been behaving the way that I want it to behave, and don't listen to a lot of people that are saying, oh, you know, we're in for another fucking 2 years of indecision in the markets or a bear market. It's bullshit, okay? It's bullshit. It's fear mongering and it's tactics. As you can see, I've marked off these little zones on the chart, okay? That's where all the stop losses are hidden. This is my method for knowing exactly how and when to enter the markets. So you mark up your zones, which is where the stop losses will be, okay? And you wait for price to track back down, which I knew it was going to do this. So I'm starting to trade it down as well. I've got some sell orders in, so I'm making money on the way down. When it hits 150, I'm going to buy, and I'm just going to hold it, okay? And the reason that this works so well for a majority of stocks, especially ones like Tesla, is because they're going up all the time. You know, if you look at the S&P 500, like I said, you can make 11.88% from that every single year, because they're going like this over time. So buying and holding is a good strategy, I think, especially for a beginner. Another company I'm looking at is Meta. Now, there's lots that suggest to me that Meta is going to be absolutely smashing it in the future. They've even changed the name of their ticker, which is their sign on the stock market, to Meta. It's not Facebook anymore. So they are investing heavily into MetaTech, and I'm convinced that this is going to be something big in the future. So I'll be looking at that. I've marked a zone off here as well. Another thing you can look at, I think it's on Meta, it's also on Tesla, but they have these gaps in the market. Okay, so what happened is price will shoot up randomly one day and it will create a gap. What these stocks like to do is price will track back and close that gap before taking off again. Okay, so I'm currently waiting on Meta to travel into this little green zone that I've got marked out, and then I'll be looking to buy that as well. And that is something I will be looking to hold for the long term, because I'm sure it's going to pay off big time. Okay guys, so should you invest? Yes, 100% you should, especially if you're putting money into the bank and you're a saver. Do you know what I mean? My other advice would be to start making more money, find a way to make more money straight away before you invest. But even if you earn £250 a week, you should be putting 10% of it away, minimum, okay? Be investors, it's smart, it's a smart thing to do. Turn your money into more money, make it multiply. Send your money out and make it work for you, okay? You don't work for money, money works for you.